Hello and welcome to Flagstaff TV. Today we are joined by Paul Smith, Director of Research at Zeus Capital. Paul, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Catherine.
Paul, please can you start by giving us an overview of Goldplat?
Of course. Goldplat, listed in London, has a current market cap of around about £11 million and a price of 6.5p. The business is fairly unique in our view. It produces gold and other precious metals through the careful use of a series of recovery plants in South Africa and Ghana. The company processes high and low grade waste materials. Now, these aren't your traditional ores and tailings, but rather waste produced as the byproduct of mining, so oil, spent fine carbon, and wood chips, etc. It mostly toll treats these for its clients to a certain recovery, gaining its profits from its toll contracts. It also has stockpiles of its own materials in South Africa, which ensures full utilisation of its circuits. In South Africa, it produces a gold doré bar, a situation we hope it will reach in Ghana shortly once permitting is achieved. So rather than producing the gold-rich concentrate it currently does in Ghana for sale and treatment elsewhere, it will capture more of the downstream revenue than Ghana itself. South Africa is currently on a slightly declining path as much of the material it treats is domestic, and as we know, the South African gold mining industry is on a slow decline. This situation is something that management is looking to reverse by looking at other commodities, for example, the platinum industry, and also looking to import material into South Africa itself, as it has done in the past. We feel that Ghana is perfectly located in West Africa, and Goldplat is increasing its engagement with the officials in surrounding countries, and also as an import destination for South American material, an area where Goldplat has been putting a lot of its marketing effort recently. We see Goldplat as offering a unique bespoke recovery service, and we see a large number of potential clients who could use the services offered.
The recent Q4 update seemed positive. Can you provide us with some more background on this?
Of course, yeah. The recent Q4 update was a record, the highest quarterly gross operating profit we've seen since we started analysing the company, at £4.3 million. This was driven by the results from Ghana, which had a record 3.7 million reported. A small recovery in the South African operation helped too, and they returned a gross operating profit of 0.6 million in the quarter, which is pretty much a return to its long-term quarterly average. This was helped in South Africa by the improvement in the electricity situation and a reduction in the amount of load shedding required. In any case, Goldplat has installed electricity generators now, which will take up further slack to mitigate any future electricity problems. So overall, the two operations generated a PBT of 3 million after interest, FX losses and before head office allocation. Now, Q4 was an exceptional period in Ghana, with some very high-grade parcels of material treated, and nobody's forecasting that this will continue indefinitely, but it does show what is possible. With additional engagement in Western Africa, it should be possible to get a more regular supply of material, and this will be helped by circuit improvements already planned in Ghana. Perhaps most importantly, the company finished with gross cash at quarter end of £3.8 million and announced again it is planning to pay a dividend at some point, which we think would be an important diversifier for the stock.
Paul, what do you think the drivers are to Goldplat's future performance?
For Goldplat to maintain a growth profile, it's been investing in its marketing. This has brought great dividends to Ghana, with the first parcel of material from the Ivory Coast received and regular material from South Africa being delivered. It needs to keep up this engagement in our view. In South Africa, the picture is slightly different, but there are opportunities in platinum group metals, and it's made some investments in fine coal recovery, and also in the treatment of its old tailings management facility, now the new one is built. The plan is to pipeline the old tailings material to a plant operated by DRD, but there's a wait on pipeline permitting and water licenses. We don't yet include anything from the recovery of gold from this resource in our numbers, especially as technical and commercial terms are not yet available.
Paul, finally for today, I know you recently updated your model on Goldplat. Can you give us your thoughts on valuation?
Of course, we recently updated our model and put a new fair value of 17 pence per share on the stock, up from 14p we had on before. We value Goldplat based on an EV/EBITDA multiple of 3.5 times for the next financial year, so financial year 2025, plus net cash. We forecast a slight improvement in profitability in the coming years, with EBITDA rising from an estimated 7.2 million in the last financial year to 7.6 and 7.9 million respectively in 25-26, with a corresponding earnings per share of 1.7p rising to 2.2 and 2.3p. We arrive at our valuation multiple from looking across the London market at mining support services, tailings processors and gold miners, none of which are perhaps natural peers, but combined have an EV/EBITDA of 4.2 times, and we use a more conservative 3.5 times in our assumptions. This is before any cash flow from the tailings reprocessing in South Africa and does not include any more exceptional quarters like the recent Q4. We have tried to be prudent in our analysis. But overall, we think it's important to say that Goldplat is profitable, with repeat profits quarter by quarter, and is generating cash. One steady state operation in South Africa and one growth engine in Ghana. We think there's lots of gold-bearing raw materials out there that could be processed, and Goldplat is making inroads into the companies to get its hands on these raw materials to halt the decline in South Africa and continue to improve its position in Ghana. Current projects continue to improve the circuits available and to capture as much value as possible, and Goldplat has the financial capability to pay for these. It also has projects which, until realised, we do not include our numbers, for example the tailings retreatment in South Africa, which I've mentioned before. A plan to pay dividends would mean that some investors would see this company in a different light in our view.
Paul, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Catherine.
And thank you for watching Flagstaff TV.